Alright guys, this is going to be just a quick overview of hardware and software. Feel free to skip this video and go to the next one if you already know the parts of a computer and what software is. Alright, this is not an in-depth explanation. Alright, this is just basic explanation of hardware and software. We'll start with hardware first. And you're not going to learn to be an electrical engineer from this video. You're just going to get the basics. Alright, hardware is the physical components of the computer. If you can touch it with your hands, well, when it's out of the computer, of course, then it's hardware. Computers aren't just one solid piece. There's multiple components working together as one whole. Alright, the major components are the motherboard, the central processing unit, which is the CPU, main memory, secondary storage, input and output devices. Alright, here we have the motherboard. It's simply a circuit board to connect all the components. It's made of the board, the capacitors, transistors, and a lot of other things. Not really going to go into too much detail. Okay, it generates a lot of heat, so it's going to be cooled by this right here. This is called a heat sink. This big old brown piece. They don't all look the same, and not all motherboards look the same. This is just a picture I found. And usually it's got a fan, but it connects in right here, here, somewhere. One of these connectors has a fan, and it blows air all throughout, and it cools the heatsink and transfers air. And some are air cooled and some are high performance. Some are high performance and they have water which cools them, or some other liquid, but this one seems to be air cooled. And underneath here, this part is probably the CPU, and down here is probably something else. I don't know, maybe graphics processor, something like that. Okay, now CPU looks like this right here. They don't all look exactly the same. They all have different designs, but this is the general. Alright, there's a lot of different ones other than this, so don't just keep your mindset on this. Alright, it's made of the arithmetic and logic unit, which is the ALU, and the control unit. Alright, the ALU does all the math, and the control unit controls all the computer's operations. You know, like if it wants to read memory from the hard drive, it sends a signal to the hard drive, which also sends a signal back to whatever it needs to send a signal to. Like the RAM, it'll send its signals to the RAM. It starts the program, and then that transfers signal back to the CPU, which transfers the signal back to the monitor, and it's just a complicated process. Okay, now CPU operates by the fetch, decode, and execute cycle. The control unit fetches instructions as a number and decodes the instruction. Then it sends the decoded instruction as an electronic signal to a component to perform an operation. The signal could go to the ALU, hard disk drive, monitor, whatever, pretty much anything that is connected to the computer. Alright, main memory is really just called random access memory, or RAM. This is where a program is stored while in use. Your web browser is there right now while you watch this video, actually. That's just a good example. RAM is erased when the computer is turned off, which is why it's a volatile type of memory, or temporary. There are many types of RAM, but it is not limited to what you see here. This is just basic stuff right here. Laptops and desktops use two totally different styles. Alright, secondary storage is held much longer than RAM. It stays in memory even after shutdown, but I wouldn't call it permanent because you can always delete it or overwrite it, or it can become corrupt, just all kinds of different reasons. And programs are stored here and loaded to main memory only when they're executed. Examples are hard drives, CDs, DVDs, flash drives, etc. Alright, input is information that goes into a computer. Input devices are used to input that information into the computer. Okay, so the keyboard, you type the keys, it inputs whatever you just typed. A mouse, you click the mouse button, it sends a signal to the CPU that you click that button, and it then does whatever you clicked. Alright, scanners, they input pictures, cameras, input pictures, mics, record sound, whatever. Alright, output is information the computer puts out. Alright, it's created by an output device after an electronic signal is sent to it by the CPU. The device interprets the signal and then creates output. Monitors, printers, and speakers are good examples of these. Alright, that's about all I'm going to say about hardware. You don't really need to know much else for what I'm going to be going on about later. And I'm going to move on to software now. Same thing as I said before, you're not going to learn to be an engineer from this. It's just basic understanding. Alright, with that said, software is what makes a computer useful. Without it, a computer is just really a huge paperweight. And software is just programs telling a computer what to do. There are two categories of software, and that's system software and application software. System software is the programs that operate hardware and allow other software to run. Three common types are operating systems, utility programs, software development programs. Alright, now, operating systems are the most important software. They control everything. They control all the devices that are connected to the computer, all the hardware inside the computer, data, storage, all that. Okay, now, utility programs. They're important as well. They perform tasks to enhance operations or enhance security. Without these, you're going to have one slow computer. Viruses will slow it to the point of a complete crash, and uploading and downloading large files will take forever without file compression programs. Now, software development tools. They're really used by programmers only, and they test, modify, create software with these. And compilers, debuggers, and text editors are good examples. And usually when you download a program for creating another program, you can get them all in one. Now, application software. That's really just used to perform a task. It doesn't really control hardware. And good examples are games, word processors, web browsers. And it really just deals with what the user wants and what the user needs rather than controlling anything. Well, that's about it for this video. I feel that's all you're going to need for the rest of the videos coming up, but if you want to learn more, there's plenty of sources out there. Well, see you in the next video.